Welcome to another episode of Building Opportunities. Today I have one of our executive recruiters, Maddie, and one of our newer recruiters, Jess, and we will be talking about tips for recruiting in the building materials industry today. Thank you both for joining me.
We're happy to be here.
Excited.
My first question is to Jess, and it's why did you choose to start recruiting for the building materials industry?
I have been recruiting for right around 6 years. I was looking to step out of healthcare and was looking for something that was just as sustainable as healthcare. So building industry was my first choice.
Maddie, on the opposite side, why do you love recruiting for the building materials industry as you've been in it for a lot longer of a time?
I feel like this industry is super tight knit. It's a big industry, small family. Everyone knows each other, so you can build really strong relationships at every level of the food chain. So to piggyback off of what Jess said, building materials is part of one of those larger pillars on what we need to survive. I'd say the three major pillars would be food, healthcare, and housing. And the housing industry, even through the pandemic, never slowed down. And there's some great stability in that for me as a recruiter.
Okay, my next question for Jess is what have you learned so far about recruiting in the building materials industry in your first month here at Snapdragon?
I've learned a lot the first month, a lot of industry terms. The past month I've really been focusing on learning the difference between manufacturers, distributors, and retailers.
And sort of going off that, Maddie, what do you think are the most important things for Jess to learn as she's becoming a building materials recruiter?
Exactly that. The different parts of the food chain, basically the difference between retail to wholesale to manufacturing, learning and understanding the products. Always, checking out different newsletters to see what's going on in the industry. Being knowledgeable of the ins and outs of the supply side is super crucial for both the client and the candidate to know that you do know what you're talking about and you do want their best interest.
My next question for Jess is what challenges have you encountered so far being a recruiter in a different industry?
My challenges that I've encountered for the past month or so right now is definitely learning the terminology, job descriptions, titles, and then being newer to this industry specifically as a recruiter. The good part is with joining Snapdragon as a team, they're really well known in the building materials industry, so that definitely has been a help.
And Maddie, do you have any advice for her regarding those sort of challenges?
I think my best advice is always communication and being on the phones. Our candidates love to talk, so while you have them on the phone, having it, be one of your conversation starters of tell me about the day in your life, talk to me about your responsibilities. You'll start to learn those different titles and what they entail, as well as asking your clients, what's going on in the industry, what are you seeing? You'll just become more of an industry leader through having those conversations.
My last question for you, Jess, is what goals do you have as a building materials recruiter in the future?
My short-term goal is for the rest of this year to absorb as much information as I can. I have a wonderful team of tenured, high-performing recruiters, and I cannot wait to continue to learn from them. Long-term, 2024, I want to be billing like $500,000. So.
Good goal to have. Good answer.
And then Maddie, what advice do you have for Jess to achieve these goals being an extremely experienced and successful recruiter?
I think in recruiting, and this is with every industry, is that there's peaks and valleys. I think that as long as you're making the calls, you're calling your clients, you're reaching out to candidates, and you're staying in the batter's box, the sky's the limit. There are going to be some tough days, but making sure that you don't bring that with you the next day is crucial. But your long-term goals are there. You know what you're doing. You know how to talk to candidates. Your biggest challenge, I think, is going to be to learn our industry, and you're already doing great at it.
That is all I have for today. Thank you both for joining me today on the podcast. Make sure to check out Building Opportunities and our past podcasts as well, and snapdragonassociates.com to find your next executive hire.
Thanks, Lizzie.
Thank you.